How's it going, folks? And welcome back to another Pokemon Go battle video here in Hoaglandia. Masters League is still in session. We'll be doing some more battles with the same Mewtwo, Garchomp, Meltan team that I had played previously. A couple of small changes since the last video that we played. My Garchomp has now hit Best Buddy status, so he now has a little bit of extra power. And then from Community Day, I got an Elite TM, so I've got Psystrike alongside Flamethrower queued up on the Mewtwo. I do still like Flamethrower as the second attack to cut through opposing Steel Pokemon, but Psystrike is definitely a bit better than the Ice Beam I was previously using because it charges up a bit quicker. I'm still leading on the Meltan, which I've been pretty happy with. Garchomp is one of the only leads where when your opponent leads that, you're kind of behind, but Meltan is very good into opposing Mewtwo's. It's very good into Dragonites and lots of other things that people are leading on, such as miscellaneous fairy Pokemon as well. So let's go ahead and dive on into some Masters League battles here. I've got 4 battles left in my current set, and then I've got 1 more for today. So we're going to do 9 battles here this evening, or morning or afternoon, or whatever time of day you're watching this at. It's leading on Heracross. That's not one I've seen before. I think this has fighting attacks some of the time. Looks like it has bug to start. I believe rock is decent into bug. Let's find out. Been a while since I've aren't a ton of bug Pokemon in Masters. Not super effective, but neutral, and we'll be able to get another rock slide here, it looks like, before they get a charge attack going. Heracross is one of my favorite Pokemons. I'll have to travel south at some point and pick one of them up. He's one I don't have in my decks yet because he's regional. Okay, and they're switching out to a Steel here. And I think I'm going to go ahead and get a Superpower off here before we switch out to Garchomp, which should be very good against the Steel Electric Pokemon. So our fighting attack goes off whenever you use the... It's a pretty quick charge attack. Definitely not going to shield here, expecting this to be a steel or electric attack, neither of which should hit Garchomp particularly hard. Wild Charge is exactly that and does not hit particularly hard. So we're up a shield and we're up a Pokemon still. The switch into another electric feels like Garchomp's pretty problematic for the team our opponent has here. Yeah, imagine that'll get a shield, and then honestly, because they're out of shields and Garchomp's probably our best into this on our lineup here, I'm going to go ahead and just tap the shield button here, and we'll get to another Earth Power. Imagine we'll put this down. Wow, that charged up really quick. That was a rock attack last time, so I'm just going to go ahead and take the punch here. Yeah, not very effective again. If they had had a ground attack, it could have potentially been worth shielding, and I'm not super familiar with the Electric Golem's moveset. Heracross on the back. This is not very effective. I wonder what this has. This could be a fighting attack. Fighting super effective into here. Oh, it's an Earthquake. Yeah, that'll basically get us. Okay. And then Mewtwo should be fine here with the... with Psychic into the fighting, and Psystrike charges up real quick like. Straightforward set there. And I won my first battle in this set, so we're now 2-0 in this run. I'm streaming or recording these from my cell phone, and I've got a notification at the top, and it hurts not to pull down and check the notification when it's there. You gotta keep those clear. Alright, so Grand Bulls sometimes have fighting attacks in the primary, so this could be super effective. It's not. Looks like a fairy. So they're going into Garchomp. I'm going to go ahead and Superpower before I switch out into Mewtwo. I like to switch out into Mewtwo because Garchomp into Garchomp, you have to shield Outrage. And if I'm going to be using shields, I'd rather be using shields on Mewtwo, because Mewtwo charges up much faster. We'll go ahead and we'll get the Psy Strike going, and they used a shield on the superpower, which is great for us. So Mewtwo should hopefully be able to beat this Garchomp with a single shield use. And both their shields are gone at this point, so we should get to... I'm going to go ahead and shield this, which is probably an Earth Power. I guess it could be a Sand Tomb. It looks like they're using the Dragon attack as their primary as opposed to Mud Shot. What's an Earthquake? Okay. So they are out of shields. So this Psy Strike is going to hit them. And then I think we should be charged enough that, especially if they're going to try and go for Earthquake again, we should get them down with this Psy Strike. Actually, we might be able to just primary them out of this and have a charge attack going into the next one. I'm going to get greedy here. Yeah, okay. So we'll just have a Psy Strike ready to go for whatever pops up here. Yep. So it's a Sylveon. So Mewtwo is likely going to go down in this fight, and we're just going to let that happen. One of the things that's important to think about when you're playing Melmetal on your team is that having a switch available is very valuable because Superpower lowers your attack and defense. So ideally you want to conserve your switch as long as your Melmetal is still alive. We'll go ahead and use Rock Attack here because fighting's not very effective into fairies. We'll go ahead and knock it out, and then we'll see what they have on their back line. Oh, right, they have the Grand Bull still. Okay, so this actually isn't necessarily amazing for us. I'm going to want to use my shields to protect the Melmetal because the fairies are going to be super effective into the Garchomp on the back line. So ideally, we'd like Melmetal to finish this fight out. And with one shield, it should be able to, no problem here. Groudon lead. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot into Mewtwo here. You don't want to leave... And this is why we have the Flamethrower here. When they pivot into Metagross, we can Flamethrower now. And Flamethrower, they usually don't shield the first attack against Mewtwo, because they typically don't expect Flamethrower. Well, they did. Gross. Okay, so now we'll gear up for Flamethrower again. Do I want to shield here? I don't think so. I think we can take a hit and still get back to Flamethrower, and then we'll get to put the Groudon in. Yeah, so it's a pretty big hit, but not before we get back to the Flamethrower. And then if they use all their shields here, we're going to be able to... well, they just took the hit. Yes, okay, so they're down. Wow, we went down at the same time, huh? Huh. I think I lead Garchomp, because we're up a shield. Because if they put their ground Pokemon back in... Oh, and they had a Garchomp, too. Oh, and their Garchomp has the Dragon Primary. That's kind of gross for us. So, good chance we actually go down here because of their team composition. Maybe I should have shielded to protect... I should have shielded to protect the... What's it called? I think I need to shield to protect this. This is probably an Earth Power, which is super effective here. I switched out because they didn't shield on the first try. And they also have... Okay, now they switched into this. Okay, so because Superpower drops our stats, you want to wait and use your Superpowers back to back. So that way your attacks in the middle don't get reduced. It was a Fire Blast. I was expecting a Fire Punch. The thing was more charged than I was expecting. And we are unfortunately dead at this point. Really, really rough there that the fact that they had two Pokemon that Melmetal was bad into was really brutal for us there. Definitely a little bit of unfortunate pairing. The fact that their lead and then a second one in their back line was good against Melmetal. And this is a good pairing for Melmetal. Melmetal will stay in. They'll often pull out if they know what's going on. Rock Slides here spam just fine. We can take a Psy Strike hit, no problem. Usually takes 3 of those to put down Melmetal. Yep. So we'll get a Rock Slide in here, and our Rock Slide will do more than Psy Strike does. Yep, and they're shielding. It's fine. Having a shield advantage when we get to our Mewtwo is very valuable. Because Mewtwo just hits so hard with its Psy Strikes that it can beat most things. Oh, we missed a rock there. Yep, they just took the hit there, and then we can take a Psy Strike hit, and then hopefully we get back to Rock Slide before they get back to another Psy Strike, and we'll be able to take this out or burn another shield. It's going to be close. Felt like we hit about the same time at the start. Yeah, okay, so now I need to burn a shield here because I definitely want to get our Rock Slide in. So this Rock Slide's either going to put the Mewtwo down or it's going to burn their second shield, and either of those I think are a win for us in this situation. We won't have two shields with our Mewtwo in the backlog, but that's fine. We're either going to be up a poke here or, yeah, so they burned a shield. So that's good for us. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and Superpower here, because we should get to Superpower. Rats, let's say Superpower charges a little bit faster than Rock Slide, so there's a chance we got to it first there. Now, they're out of shields, so I think we go to Garchomp, and we're going to burn my last shield protecting this. And then we'll go into whatever their second Pokemon is with Garchomp charged up here. So Garchomp should be able to put down the Mewtwo without needing a charge attack. And we'll have a charge attack and a half here, good to go for whatever they want to switch into. Fairy Pokemon be a little bit bad for us, Togekiss especially. So they got a Groudon, that's fine. And they're out of shields. We were just supposed to Outrage, actually. Although I could probably double Earth Power here before they get to do anything. Yeah, we should be good to go. So we'll see. Groudon here, they had the choice of Groudon or whatever their other Pokemon was into Garchomp here. So I'm hoping whatever else is in their back is also bad against Garchomp. Yeah, so Earth Power is going to be super effective here. Now, something to note, though, is I think Earth Power OTK's here. But if Garchomp does go down here, Mewtwo's pretty bad into Tyranitar. So hopefully Garchomp just does the business. Yeah, sweet. That lined up pretty well for us there. Much better than the previous one. Alright, so 4-1 on the first one with the one I did off recording beforehand. Not bad. And then actually, before I collect these, I used a premium pass on this one. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pop a star piece before we collect some dust here. The 4-1's pretty decent. And there's a 5,400 dust in here, which gets kicked up to 8,100 then. So 8,100 plus this will be some amount. 6,000. Nice. My rating is a little bit sad right now because I'm mostly just farming dust. So on the nights where I don't have time to play all of my battles, I just concede a bunch of games so that way I can collect dust from them still. Because you get 5 battle sets per day, and even if you owe 5, you get 3,000 dust in the non-premium track. So I'm not someone attached to the number next to my name. Just want to farm some dust so we can build some sweet off-meta things for Great League. Yeah, this is fine, right? So their ground attacks, I guess this is not very effective into them. I think I want, oh, and they're switching. Okay, so they're going into that. I'm going to go ahead and Superpower here before we switch. This might get a shield out of them. I want to put into their Dorko here. I think it's just Mewtwo and Psystrike, because Psystrike charges so quick. They charge pretty quick, too. I think we can take a Hydro Cannon here, though. Surf, yeah, I can definitely take a Surf. And then they'll have to shield or they'll go down, and then if they work up to Surf again, we can take that hit and get back to Psystrike, so we'll see what they do. Okay, so they're just going down here. Togekiss is a pretty decent pairing for us. Psystrike is decent here. And this is smart-ish on their part because they'll be able to, they don't want Togekiss to run into my Melmetal. And they want to hit and shield it here. Can I get back to a Psystrike before this primaries me down? Oh, we did. Okay. And they switched their Pokemon out here again. And the Mamoswine is actually going to give us a little bit of trouble here. Because, oh, they didn't shield. That's good for us. So, I've got 2 shields, so we should be fine, I think. But I don't want Garchomp to go into their Togekiss. So I'm going to go ahead and get Garchomp in here, even though it's weak. Because Garchomp's weak to both the remaining things. And, you know, honestly, I might just let Garchomp go down here. I'll shield once. And I definitely want at least 1 shield going into the Togekiss, because Togekiss has ancient power a lot of the time, which is good against Melmetal. So we'll do this. And then I think we're going to go ahead and switch into Melmetal here. Wow, and they shielded that. That's really good for us, because now we get to go ahead and get a Rock Slide off here, which will be super effective. So I think Togekiss is definitely supposed to take any hit from Garchomp, because Garchomp is ground and dragon attack, so they would have resisted that either way. Yeah, and it looks like they bailed out when we rock attacked, so I think a little bit of a misuse of shields on that opponent's part there with the Togekiss. I think we were in a good spot, even if they shield appropriately, just because Melmetal is really strong into Kiss, but definitely could have gone a bit better for them, I think. A little bit better sequencing, perhaps. Gyarados is another pretty common lead that I've seen that Melmetal is great into, and they switched out into Melmetal, which means I'm going to go ahead and just fire off Superpower at the first opportunity here, and then pivot into Garchomp, because Garchomp just destroys Melmetal. And they shielded, and then Garchomp is just total bad news bears for their guy. Well, just, you know, hit me. Their fast charge attacks are Rock Slide, Thunderbolt, or Superpower. None of those are particularly great against us. And Superpower here, I think this is a misuse of Superpower on the opponent's part, because Superpower does drop your attack and defense. So they're going to take extra damage from my Garchomp. Usually you want to line up the Superpowers to charge up 2, and even overcharge a lot of the time and run them back to back. So they hit me twice here. I'm going to go ahead and charge up a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and hit Earth Power here. I'll be interested. I would bet they just let this go down as opposed to using a shield, since it's already lost stats twice. No, they did use a shield. Okay. And I think the fact that they've double attacked down means that I'm going to gamble here a little bit and take another hit. Yeah, sweet. And then this Earth Power will finish their thing. So now we're up shields, and they're down a Pokemon, in addition to being down shields. So unless we get really hard type cut on the back. What was our first guy? I need to remember better. Oh, right, it was Gyarados. So Gyarados will put this down, but then we have our first original decent pairing here. A lot of Gyarados' attacks don't hit Melmetal for a lot, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just take the hit here. Yeah. Melmetal is a tanky boy. Whoa, did they just switch to Dragonite? That's also, yeah, so opponent's team kind of just hard countered by our metal friend here. Probably won't even need Mewtwo for this fight. Definitely something you want to be aware of and have a plan for. Melmetal is one of the more common Pokemon in the Masters League because you get it from the black box and it's easy to farm candies for, and it's rated very highly because of its combination of movesets. I think I want to make sure whatever team you're putting together for has ideally probably 2 plans for it. I think it's one of the reasons why Garchomp's another one that's very good, because Garchomp hard counters Melmetal so hard. I think having 2 Pokemon on your team that are soft to Melmetal is probably a mistake. I don't know that you necessarily need like 2 counters to it, but you definitely don't want 2 things that are explicitly bad against it. 2, like one good and 1 neutral is probably fine. Another excellent lead for us that usually results in them switching out, which means we get to counter switch. So go ahead and they Psy Strike, no need to shields. We get our Rock Slide in here. We'll see. Sometimes they stay in and just side strike with the rock slide, and that's fine. I think that's a fine exchange for us overall. Yep. As you can see on my IVs there, my Melmetal is only a 14 attack, and it looks like we're charging simultaneously. And so if they have a 15, Mewtwo, we end up a little bit behind there because the tiebreaker is the extra CP. When they switch to Kyogre, interesting. So they have a charge attack ready on that, is something to keep in mind when we're switching around. And I'm going to go ahead and put Mewtwo in here. Neither of us have used a shield at this point, and Mewtwo charges up pretty fast with the Psy Strikes. Good Pokemon for burning through shields here. And Kyogre explicitly does not charge very quickly, but it hits very hard on its primary. And I'm going to go ahead and shield here, even though this is probably only a Surf, because Mewtwo's a little bit squishy. Definitely the squishiest of my team. And I believe the way this works out is we get 2 more Psy Strikes before they get back to Surf. So even if they burn their second shield here, we should get back to a second Psy Strike before we need to shield again. Okay, and we're at parity here. And that's a Yveltal. It's actually kind of medium for us here, so we'll use the Flamethrower. And then my Melmetal is actually a little bit hurt here. We're going to get back to Psy Strike, I think, before it kills us. Perfect. So this will probably get their second shield out of them. And this is flying, which means my Garchomp is not amazing into it, because my Garchomp has a ground primary attack. So we'll go ahead and let this go down. And then I think we switch to this, and we're going to need to shield, and then hope that we get back to Rock Slide. You know, no, I'm just going to let this go down, actually. And we'll save the shield for our Garchomp. We'll need to Outrage here. I think they get back to Dark Pulse before we get to Outrage, so I'm going to shield this Dark Pulse, and then I'm going to overcharge a little bit on the Outrage before we use it, so we can have a little bit of an energy lead. Oh wait, their Pokemon in the back has a... Oh, crap. Huh. We might actually have a problem here. Because I believe their Pokemon in the back has a charge attack that they walked out of, right? And we've taken a hit now. Yeah, Mewtwo has a charge attack. Yeah, this Psy Strike might put us down. We might lose this. Yeah, wow. That was close. Opponent played that really well. Build it up on the Mewtwo and then pull him back out beforehand. For sure. But what could I have done differently there? Maybe I'm supposed to put Garchomp in instead of the Reggie. And then like save a shield for the Reggie. I'm not sure that the Reggie had enough attack or had enough life to get back to a charge attack before going down to their primaries was the problem. So I'm not sure that it was worth using a shield on necessarily. Whenever we have a pairing like that where the lead is decent for us and we lose, it's always like, I feel like I had to have done something wrong. Metagross into Melmetal is like a pretty neutral pairing here for us. We're resistant to their attack, but they hit pretty hard. What I usually like to do is I like to fully charge my thing up here. They'll use a charge attack, we'll take the hit, and then I'll superpower, and then usually switch after I superpower. They did the mash. They did the media mash. Doo-doo-doo-doo. And sometimes they switch out theirs, but I don't think they're supposed to, so we'll see what this opponent does. I'm gonna go ahead and pivot to Garchomp here, leaving a charge attack ready to go on the Melmetal. And then Dragonite is obligated to shield here, because Outrage OTKs it. Honestly, the fact that they're obligated to... Well, they didn't shield because they were expecting a bluff. And they have a Garvidor in the background, too. Okay. Let me get to Earth Power. We can. Sick. Yeah, wow, that's a solid hit. Garvidor is not particularly tanky. Pretty surprised they just took that hit. They got 2 charge attacks ready to go here. I'm gonna go ahead and attack incoming. I think we can take this Meteor Mash. I'm gonna be greedy and hold my shields from Mewtwo. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we'll get running superpowers here now. And then hopefully be able to switch into Mewtwo after we use both of those. Yeah, the Mewtwo switch is ready, so we'll queue up another one here. And then we'll switch out before we take attacks with our double defense down. You should... Melmetal is such a tough Pokemon to play against in general because you should kind of shield its first attack because the second attack is going to have lower attack, but they also might just be using Rock Slide instead of Superpower, and the fact that Superpower incentivizes you to trade up for 2 makes it really easy to a really easy Pokemon to bluff with. It's definitely one of the more interesting Pokemon to play with and against in the Masters League, I think, because of the range of attacks that it can have. Like, sometimes there's Thunderbolt and other things on it, and how its attacks incentivize you to wait to double tap. Because the way it impacts the, your thing. Impacts your stats. Alright, so Garchomp on the lead, gotta pivot to Mewtwo. Again, I don't want to pivot to my Garchomp because their Garchomps... A lot of the Garchomps lately have had Dragon Attack on their primary. While mine has Mudshot, so Mudshot charges your charge attacks faster but does less as a primary attack. We got back to a second charge attack before they used their first. I wonder if they were overcharging and just underestimated how quickly mine goes up here. Like, they're going to need to use a shield here. And then I can use a shield, and then maybe we can primary them down? Probably not. I'm just going to go ahead and shield here. Let's see where we end up at. I think I gotta hit this. So they don't have the switch advantage on us. In fact, I probably shouldn't have overcharged it like I did. I think we're going to get back to another one here. Here's a Dragonite. So, Melmetal here is decent into Dragonite with the Rock Slide. And then we'll hope whoever is on their back line here... Oh, you know what? This was a small mistake on my part. I probably should have used my Super... before we switch, because if they don't shield, it OTKs them. Yeah, and they're kind of in a hard place here, because both their Pokemon get OTK'd by Garchomp, basically. That was a practical OTK. And then Outrage here has to get shielded for them, and then Rock Slide's going to come in and mess them up, because I've still got a shield left over, and usually Dragonite doesn't have... This is why I don't bluff. You could, like, play this head game where, like, you use the Earth Power because it's, like, slightly less energy, but there's enough people that just, like, call that you could be bluffing that, like, Outrage is such a similar amount of energy that I like to just go ahead and hit the Outrage. So, sweet. We hit the 4-1s back-to-back twice there. Finished them both while my Stardust was going, which was great. I need a Bulbasaur for the collection challenge, so I'm going to go ahead and grab one of that. At any rate, thank you folks for watching. I've managed to save up over 1 million dust farming with star pieces and hatching eggs, so I'm looking forward to Great League rolling back around, planning to build some off-meta mons and try and brew a little bit with team compositions. My first few run-throughs here have mostly been like, this is a very safe Masters League team, like 3 Pokemon that are rated highly, and I'm getting a little bit better feel for the ins and outs and how team building looks. I'm interested in exploring a little bit now that I've farmed some resources back up after Masters League rotates out. So, at any rate, this is your first time watching one of my Pogo videos, feel free to scroll back through the playlist on the main page of my YouTube channel. We've done one other Masters League set with this. We got some Ultra League and some Great League content up there as well. And I'll be back again real soon with some more Pogo stuff. And I'll be back again tomorrow. If you're one of my Magic the Gathering fans, Magic the Gathering releases a new set tomorrow. We'll be playing live with that on Twitch. It'll end up on YouTube here after the fact as well. Peace, folks.